Hello, welcome to yet another edition of Tour Around Windsor Castle in UK. Remember, Windsor Castle is the world's largest castle still occupied and used by monarchy. This is one of the world's largest castle. There are many significant things inside the Windsor Castle which is open to public. As I mentioned in my previous video logs of the Windsor Castle tour, I mentioned that there is a St. George chapel. You know, right? Like chapel is a worship place. It could be a room, it could be a private worship place for Christianity people. There's a significant difference between the chapel, the church, and the cathedral. This video is all about St. George Chapel. So we know that chapel is a private worship. Now this St. George Chapel is a private worship place for the British monarchy, the king and the queen. They use it still today. And one of the reason, or rather I would say compelling reason that made me do a video of this St. George Chapel is because St. George Chapel is the place where they have kept Queen Elizabeth II, Charles I, Charles II, and other very noted monarchy king and queen's tomb. Tomb means they are buried over here. You remember Queen Elizabeth II died in 2022 and her tomb is there inside this St. George Chapel. Therefore, it is a must place to see for the visitors whenever you see Windsor Castle. I'm going to take you through the St. George Chapel. We are already inside the Windsor Castle. After you entered within 5 minutes, you could see yellow limestone building on your left side on your entrance path. That's the St. George Chapel. And you could see people are already in the queue to get inside the St. George Chapel. Now, St. George Chapel was also built during the 11th century when the Windsor Castle was built. It's of great importance to British monarchy as well as Christianity people. As I told, chapel is a private worship place for Christianity religion followers. Now, St. George Chapel, as like any other chapel, or let's say you are similar to your Canterbury Cathedral, anything, has marvelous sculptures, paintings, curves on the walls that depicts the Roman culture as well as the church culture and the British monarchy's symbols. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go inside this St. George Chapel and take a little glimpse of it. Remember, inside the Windsor Castle, filming or photography is completely prohibited. You could take the exterior, the tower, the walls, the in and around state apartment also, etc. But you can't film, you can't take video, you can't do a camera photo shoot inside the George Chapel or state apartments or dollhouse. I'm gonna give you a very close sneak peek and a very limited view, so bear with me. Now we are entering inside the chapel. As you can see, there are very big pillars, and if you look at the roof of this chapel, the glass windows painted with Jesus Christ and the story of various popes and that belongs to Roman stories, Bible, they're all carved over here. You could see the Roman culture. It's heavily depicted on the roof ceilings. Look at the roof ceilings. It's really magnificent. Remember, this chapel is used by King and was used by Queen Elizabeth II as well. So what you're seeing is a chapel which is in use inside Windsor Castle. This is marvelous roof ceilings. Now we are entering into Queen Elizabeth II burial place. Unfortunately, I can't film it. There's a signboard so that you know that Queen Elizabeth II burial place is also there. We are traveling inside the St. George Chapel. These are all very magnificent prayer rooms having huge chandelier, candles, places to sit, places for the choir music. Hope you know, right? Choir music that happens in a church. You could see the candles. There are various writings that depicts lot of significant events and remembrance to various prominent people who are there here in the St. George Chapel in the olden era. But remember, this is still used. So inside we just got a very small sneak peek. I can't film entire chapel. It's heavily secured, heavily restricted. So I just give you a sneak peek. These are the exterior of St. George Chapel. Now, after viewing that, we are going out of the Windsor Castle. Now, once I walk down St. George's Chapel, there lies a sentry. Sentry is the place where the British guard takes his watch. So sometimes he stands still. If he gets bored, he keeps marching back and forth a couple of times. So we got to see the march of the guard with his traditional hat, arms, and the red dress. Well, you remember this red dress? Right? This signifies the British Royal Army color. So in India we use khaki for the police, whereas blue is used very significantly. Now I'm trying to take a landscape view. I'm trying to just shake my legs and my waist. We are at the exit. This is the place where we started.